The manila folder landed on my lap with a soft thud. Family Plan was written across the top in my father's precise handwriting, each letter carved into the paper like a commandment. I'm Scarlett, and I should have known better than to come home. Well? My father's voice carried that familiar edge, the one that made me feel like I was still 14 and asking for permission to go to the movies. Aren't you going to open it? The living room hadn't changed in the 15 years since I'd left. Same faded floral wallpaper, same heavy curtains that made everything feel like twilight even at noon. My sister Haley perched on the edge of the sofa, hands clasped in her lap like she was praying. Her husband Freddie stood behind her, one hand on her shoulder, smiling that car salesman smile that had probably helped drive his dealership into the ground. Can we eat first? I asked, setting the folder aside. I drove 4 hours to get here. Of course, sweetheart, my mother called from the kitchen. Dinner's almost ready. But before I could stand, Freddie had already dimmed the lights and pulled down a projection screen I hadn't noticed before. While we wait, he said, clicking a remote, I'd love to show you something amazing. The first slide appeared. Paradise found. Your dream investment opportunity. Really? I said. Now? Now's perfect, Haley chimed in, her voice honey sweet. We've been waiting for the right moment to share this with you, Scar. Images of white sand beaches and crystal clear waters filled the screen. Freddie's voice took on that rehearsed enthusiasm I recognized from his old TV commercials. Imagine a boutique hotel in the heart of paradise, exclusive, intimate, and completely turnkey for the right investor. My father cleared his throat. Your sister and Freddie have put together quite the business plan. Very impressive. Dad, I just got here. And what better time to discuss family matters than when family's together? He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. You know, Scarlett, not everyone gets the opportunities you've had. Here it came, the guilt trip express right on schedule. Your sister supported you through college, he continued. Remember who paid your rent that first year in the city? I paid every penny back, I said quietly. That's not the point, Haley's voice cracked. The point is family takes care of family. The projection clicked to another slide. Financial projections that looked too good to be true. Freddie's hands moved animatedly as he spoke about return on investment and market analysis, but all I could focus on was how my mother hadn't said a word. How she just kept arranging and rearranging the silverware on the dining room table. We only need a small investment to get started, Freddie said, finally winding down. Just your inheritance from Grandma Helen. It's just sitting there anyway, right? Just my entire safety net. Just the money that had given me the courage to leave this town in the first place. I'll think about it, I said, standing up. But right now, can we please just have dinner? Of course, my father said, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. Take the folder. Review it carefully. Family's counting on you, Golden Girl. Golden Girl. The old nickname felt like a collar tightening around my neck. Over dinner, they talked about everything except the hotel. Childhood memories, local gossip, Haley's plans to start a family. But I felt the folder's presence like a weight in my bag, saw how their eyes kept drifting to it. I should head to my hotel, I said after dessert. Early meeting tomorrow. Hotel? My mother looked hurt. But your room is always ready. Thanks, Mom, but... Stay, my father said. It wasn't a request. Review the proposal tonight. We can discuss details over breakfast. I felt myself nodding, felt myself carrying my overnight bag up to my old bedroom, felt the walls closing in with every step. The folder sat unopened on my childhood desk, but something else caught my eye. My father's office door, slightly ajar, light spilling out. He never left it open, never. Sometimes the universe sends signals, sometimes it practically screams them. The floorboard creaked under my foot. That same loose board I'd memorized as a teenager sneaking out. I froze, listening for movement downstairs. Nothing but the distant murmur of the TV and my father's occasional laugh. I slipped into his office like a ghost. The room smelled of leather and cigars. Everything meticulously organized except for a black binder sitting askew on his desk. Not his usual style. My fingers brushed its spine, and I noticed something odd. No label, no marking, just plain black. Looking for something? I spun around. My mother stood in the doorway, holding a cup of tea. Just that old photo of Haley and me at the lake, I said quickly. Thought I might get it framed. Her eyes softened. Those are in the basement, sweetheart. But since you're here... She stepped into the office, closing the door behind her. Your father means well. He just wants to keep the family together. By taking my inheritance? By giving your sister a chance. She sipped her tea. Not everyone can be as capable as you. The word capable hung in the air like an accusation. I should get some sleep, I said. She nodded, then hesitated. Don't stay up too late reading anything. Her eyes flickered to the binder before she left. The moment the door clicked shut, I grabbed the binder and opened it. The first page made my blood run cold. Wells Family Financial Restructuring, Phase 1. What followed was a detailed timeline, spreadsheets, and bullet points. My hands trembled as I read. Secure SW's inheritance through hotel investment. Establish joint account control, HR primary. Document stress anxiety episodes. File for temporary power of attorney. Transfer remaining assets to family trust. There were sticky notes in my sister's handwriting. Remember to mention kids, and push emotional angle. A loose paper slipped out, a partially completed power of attorney form. At the bottom, a notary's signature, Linda Roberts, my mother's cousin. My phone buzzed. A text from Haley. You up? Let's talk about the proposal. I snapped a photo of the binder's contents with shaking hands, then carefully returned it exactly as I'd found it. My heart pounded so hard I could barely breathe. Back in my room, I finally opened the family plan folder they'd given me. The hotel proposal was there, but now I saw it for what it was, a facade. The numbers were vague, the projections impossible. It wasn't a business plan, it was a trap. Another text from Haley. Dad says you're still awake. Come down, we can go over the numbers. I typed back, tired, tomorrow. My phone immediately rang. I let it go to voicemail. Scarlett? My father's voice outside my door. Everything okay up there? Fine, I called back, my voice steadier than I felt. Just reviewing everything? Good girl, don't forget. Family breakfast at 8. I waited until his footsteps faded, then opened my laptop. My hands flew over the keyboard as I emailed the photos to myself and my work account. Then I called the one person I knew would answer at this hour. Jaden, I need your help. Scarlett, it's midnight. I found something bad. Can you look into Linda Roberts? She's a notary in my hometown. Now? Please. It's important. I heard keyboard clicks, then a sharp intake of breath. Scarlett. Her license was suspended last month. Fraud allegations. The room spun. I gripped the desk to steady myself. There's more, Jaden continued. She's been named in 3 cases involving contested power of attorney documents. A soft knock at my door made me jump. Scarlett? Haley's voice, sweet as poison. Can we talk? Tomorrow, I called out, ending the call with Jaden. I brought hot chocolate, like when we were kids. I stared at the door, seeing not my sister but a stranger wearing her face. I'm in bed already, I lied. Okay. Love you, sis. Love you too, I said automatically, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. I didn't sleep that night. How could I, knowing that while I lay in my childhood bed, my family was downstairs plotting to steal my life? They want to do what? Jaden slammed his coffee cup down, splattering drops across his desk. 3 days had passed since my midnight escape from my parents' house, pleading a work emergency at dawn. Steal everything, I said, spreading the photos across his desk. Look at these notes. They've been planning this for months. He picked up one photo, squinting at Haley's handwriting. Remember to cry during dinner? Who are these people? My family. The word felt wrong now, like clothes that no longer fit. We need to call the police. With what? A photograph of a plan they haven't executed yet? I shook my head. They'd deny everything. Say I misunderstood. Make me look paranoid. Jaden's office door opened and we quickly gathered the photos. Our colleague Marcus poked his head in. Scarlett, your father's online too. Third time he's called today. I shared a look with Jaden before picking up the phone. Hi, Dad. Finally! We've been worried sick. You left without saying goodbye. I forced lightness into my voice. Sorry about that. Work emergency. Well, we need to discuss the investment. Freddie's contact needs an answer by Friday. Actually, I said, watching Jaden give me a thumbs up, I've been thinking about transferring some funds, to get things started. A pause. Then, really? That's wonderful news. We're almost there, Princess. Just need to set up the accounts properly. Almost there. The exact words from their timeline. I'll have my bank send over the paperwork, I said. No need. We have everything prepared. Haley's friend at the bank. Dad, I need to go. Client meeting. I hung up and looked at Jaden. Did you hear? Every word. They're getting sloppy, eager. He pulled out his laptop. Which means we need to move faster. For the next hour, we researched financial structures, trust laws, and foundation regulations. My inheritance wasn't just sitting in a bank account. It was invested, diversified, protected. They'd need more than a power of attorney to touch it. Look at this, Jaden said, turning his screen toward me. The Brenner Foundation. They help first-generation college students, started by some tech billionaire. So they had to protect the money from his family too. Look who structured it. A name jumped out. Diana Martinez, financial architecture specialist. Call her, Jaden said, sliding over her contact information. My hands shook as I dialed. To my surprise, she answered on the second ring. Ms. Martinez, my name is Scarlett. I need help protecting my legacy. Legacy protection? She sounded interested. From what? Not what. Who? I took a deep breath. My family is trying to take everything I've built, but I don't want to just protect it. I want to turn it into something they can never touch. Silence then. Tell me more. I thought of my high school teacher, Mrs. Roberts, who'd first told me I could be more than my zip code, who'd helped me apply for scholarships while my family called me selfish for wanting to leave. I want to help girls like me, I said, first-generation students who just need one person to believe in them. Come to my office, Diana said. Tomorrow morning, bring everything you have. After hanging up, I called my father back. I've been going over the numbers, I said. The hotel plan looks solid. Of course it does. Your sister and Freddie worked hard on it. I'm thinking of transferring a small amount first, to show good faith. How much? 20,000, he coughed. That's not quite what we were hoping for. Just to start, I said quickly, to test the waters. Well, perhaps we should meet with our lawyer first, discuss the full structure. Of course, I said, whatever you think is best. After hanging up, I looked at Jaden. They're getting nervous. Good. He handed me a sticky note with an address. Diana's office, 9 a.m. tomorrow. I stared at the address, feeling something unfamiliar bubble up inside me. It took a moment to recognize it. Hope. Time to turn their plan against them, I said. Jaden grinned. Time to show them exactly who they underestimated. Perfect timing, Haley squealed as I walked into my parents' dining room a week later. The table was set with Mom's best china, and the air smelled of pot roast, my favorite, always my favorite when they wanted something. Freddie stood by the fireplace, clutching a thick envelope. We thought we'd celebrate over dinner. Sign the papers, toast to new beginnings. Let her sit down first, my father said, but his eyes never left the envelope. I'd spent the morning with Diana and Jaden, reviewing our plan one final time. Now, watching my family's eager faces, I felt strangely calm. Wine? My mother offered. Just water, I said. Need a clear head for legal documents. Freddie's smile flickered. It's pretty straightforward stuff. I'm sure it is. I sat down, smoothing my skirt. But I always read before I sign. Of course, my father said. But let's eat first. Paris, serve the food. Throughout dinner, the envelope sat beside Freddie's plate like a loaded gun. Haley barely touched her food, watching me with bright, hungry eyes. My mother kept refilling wine glasses that weren't empty. Finally, my father pushed his plate away. Now then, Freddie slid the envelope across the table. Everything's prepared, just needs your signature in a few places. I opened the envelope slowly, deliberately. The documents inside were exactly what I expected. Power of attorney forms, trust transfers, bank authorizations, all carefully worded to look innocent while signing away everything I owned. Page 6 is the main one, Haley said helpfully, for the hotel funding. I turned to page 6, pulled out my pen, signed with a flourish. Perfect! Freddie reached for the papers. Wait, I said. Let me finish reading. It's getting late, my father started. I'm not tired. I turned another page, signed again. Haley squeezed Freddie's hand under the table. My mother poured more wine. Done, I said finally, sliding the stack back. Freddie snatched them up, flipping through. Everything looks in order. I'll have these filed first thing tomorrow. Wonderful. My father raised his glass. To family. To family, I echoed, taking a sip of water. Later, in my hotel room, my phone buzzed with a text from Jaden. Done? Done, I replied. They never read what I actually signed. The document I'd signed wasn't their power of attorney. It was mine, naming Jaden as my financial proxy. The hotel authorization was now a transfer document for the foundation. Every signature they'd watched so eagerly was another piece of their plan dismantled. My phone rang. Haley, that wasn't so hard, was it? She said. I knew you'd do the right thing. I always do, I said. We should celebrate properly tomorrow. Shopping, lunch, like old times. Can't. Heading back to the city. But we need to discuss next steps. Everything's in motion now, I said truthfully. Nothing left to discuss. After hanging up, I walked to the window. Below, I could see my father's car still parked outside the hotel, watching, waiting, making sure I didn't leave town with cold feet. I pulled out the original documents I'd found in his office and struck a match. Watched the pages curl and blacken, their toxic words turning to ash in the hotel sink. My phone buzzed again. Diana. Foundation paperwork filed. No turning back now. Good, I typed back. Another text from Jaden. You okay? I thought about my father's smug smile, Haley's greedy eyes, Freddie's sweaty handshake. Thought about the years of manipulation, the subtle digs, the guilt trips. Better than okay, I replied. I'm free. Tomorrow they'd try to file their documents and find them worthless. Tomorrow they'd discover their perfect plan had been turned inside out. Tomorrow they'd learn that their golden girl had finally learned to shine for herself. But tonight, I watched the last ashes of their scheme wash down the drain. And for the first time in years, I smiled without feeling like I owed anyone anything. My phone buzzed one last time. My father. Proud of you, princess. I deleted the message without responding. His pride had always come with a price tag, and I was done paying. The Christine Roberts Foundation for First-Generation Students, Diana read from the draft announcement. Simple, direct, powerful. 2 weeks had passed. My family's calls had gone from eager to confused to angry to silent. Now, in Diana's sleek office overlooking the city, we were finalizing the details that would make their silence permanent. 50 scholarships to start, Jaden said, scrolling through applications on his tablet. Full ride, plus mentoring. Plus emergency funds, I added, for when family tries to drag them back down. Diana nodded approvingly. The structure's ironclad. Once the money transfers, it's untouchable. A knock at the door interrupted us. Ms. Martinez, Tyrese Warren is here for his interview. Send him in, I said, straightening my blazer. The boy who walked in reminded me so much of myself at 17, trying to look confident while wearing clothes that didn't quite fit, carrying dreams too big for his hometown. Please, sit, I said. Tell us about yourself. He cleared his throat. I work at the grocery store after school, help my mom with my little sisters, but I want to study engineering. Your application mentioned some family concerns? His shoulders tensed. My uncle says college is a waste. That family needs to stick together, help each other out. But I want more? I finished softly. He nodded, eyes down. Tyrese, I said, what if I told you that wanting more doesn't make you selfish? He looked up, surprised. The foundation covers everything, I explained. Tuition, housing, books. You'll never have to choose between your dreams and your family's demands. Why? He asked. Why would you help people you don't know? Because someone once helped me. I thought of Mrs. Roberts, her quiet belief in me. Sometimes we need someone to break the chain. After Tyrese left, Diana handed me another stack of applications. 20 more interviews tomorrow. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. Please call us. Your father's beside himself. Then Haley. The bank says there's been a mistake. Call me ASAP. Finally, Freddie. You've ruined everything. Hope you're happy. I showed the messages to Jaden, who whistled low. They found out. Good. I turned my phone off. Let's focus on what matters. We worked late into the evening, reviewing applications, planning mentorship programs, building something beautiful from the ashes of their greed. Around midnight, Jaden brought coffee. Your father left 14 voicemails at the office. Let him. I was reading an essay from a girl in Oklahoma whose parents told her dreams were for other people. We have more important things to do. They'll try to fight this, he warned. They can try. I handed him the essay. But read this. This is what we're fighting for. The next morning, Diana called an emergency meeting. They're making noise. Legal threats. Mostly empty, but there's press interest. Good, I said, surprising them both. Let's give them something to write about. We drafted a press release announcing the foundation's launch, 50 full scholarships, a mentorship network, emergency support for students facing family pressure. They'll say you're crazy, Jaden warned, that you've lost touch with reality. No, I said, reading the final draft. They'll say I finally found it. My phone rang again, my father's number. This time I answered. What have you done? He roared. Exactly what you taught me, I said calmly. I took care of family, just not the way you planned. That money was meant for what, Dad? To control me? To keep me trapped? We're your family. No, I said, you're my past. These students, they're my legacy. I hung up as Diana brought in another candidate. This girl wore a second-hand dress and carried a notebook held together with tape, but her eyes blazed with determination. Tell me, I said, what would you do if someone believed in you? She straightened in her chair. Change everything. I thought of the binder in my father's office, their careful plans to cage me. Thought of how they'd underestimated the power of someone who'd learned to fly despite their weights. Good answer, I said, smiling. Let's talk about your future. The door to my parents' house opened before I could knock. My father stood there, face flushed with anger. Family meeting, now. I walked past him into the familiar living room. Haley sat on the couch, mascara smeared from crying. Freddie paced by the window, phone pressed to his ear. My mother hovered in the doorway, wringing her hands. "Sit," my father commanded. I remained standing. "I can't stay long." "Can't stay long?" Haley's voice cracked. "After what you've done?" Freddie hung up his phone. "The bank won't even talk to us anymore. Everything's locked down tight." "That's why I brought this." I pulled out a manila folder, identical to the one they'd given me weeks ago. "Everything you want to know is inside." My father snatched it, hands shaking as he opened it. The others crowded around him as he pulled out the glossy press release. "The Christine Roberts Foundation announces its inaugural class of 50 scholarship recipients," he read aloud, "with an initial endowment of—" His face went pale. "This is your entire inheritance." "Every penny," I confirmed. "You can't do this," Haley shrieked. "That money was supposed to save us." "No," I said quietly. "It was supposed to trap me." I pulled out the photographed pages from their binder. "Did you really think I wouldn't find this?" My mother gasped. My father's face darkened. Freddie started to speak, but I cut him off. Power of attorney, joint accounts, documenting my stress episodes. I laid each page on the coffee table. "You plan to take everything." "We plan to help you," my father roared, "to keep you from wasting your potential on strangers." "You plan to own me." Haley stood up suddenly, hands pressed to her stomach. "I'm pregnant." The room went silent. "Congratulations," I said. "I hope your child grows up learning the difference between love and control." "How will we support a baby now?" She collapsed back onto the couch. "You've ruined everything." "No," I said. "I've freed myself, and I'm freeing others too." My father threw the press release down. "You think you're so clever. We'll fight this. We'll prove you were coerced, manipulated." "By whom?" I asked. "The dozen lawyers who vetted the foundation, the board of directors, the 50 students whose lives are already changing." "You ungrateful—" "I have the original binder," I cut in. "Every page, every note, every plan to steal my autonomy. Would you like the press to see those too?" His face went from red to white. "This meeting is a courtesy," I continued. "The foundation launches publicly tomorrow. I wanted you to hear it from me first." "Please," my mother whispered. "We're your family." "Family doesn't plot to destroy each other." I picked up my purse. "Family doesn't see love as a transaction." "I'm having a baby," Haley wailed again. "Then do better than they did." I gestured to our parents. "Break the cycle." My father blocked my path to the door. "You'll regret this. You'll come crawling back when you realize what you've thrown away." I looked at him, really looked at him, and saw not the towering figure of my childhood, but a small, angry man desperate for control. "The only thing I regret," I said, "is how long it took me to see you clearly." "Get out," he spat. "You're no daughter of mine." "Finally," I said, "something we agree on." I walked to the door, then turned back one last time. "The foundation's first event is next month. We're announcing the scholarships, introducing the students. You're welcome to attend, to see what your golden girl built instead of your prison." "You think you've won?" Freddie called after me. "You think this makes you better than us?" I paused in the doorway. "No, it just makes me free." The door closed behind me with a soft click. In my car, I took a deep breath, then called Jaden. "It's done," I said. "You okay?" I looked back at the house, at the window where my mother stood watching, at the life I'd finally escaped. "Better than okay," I said, starting the engine. "I'm going home." "Where's that?" I smiled, thinking of tomorrow's foundation launch, of Tyrese's speech, of 50 lives about to change. "Wherever I choose it to be." "Ms. Wells?" The reporter thrust her microphone forward. Can you respond to your family's claims that you're having a mental breakdown? I smiled directly into the camera. I'm building futures for 50 brilliant students. Does that sound like a breakdown to you? More reporters crowded around the foundation's entrance. The scholarship announcement had drawn unexpected media attention, partly thanks to my father's angry calls to local newspapers. Your sister claims you've abandoned your family obligations, another reporter called out. My obligation is to break cycles of control, I said. To help others do the same. Inside, Jaden waited with a stack of papers. Your father's lawyer sent another letter. Add it to the pile. I straightened my blazer. Are the students ready? Nearly, but you should see this first. He handed me his tablet showing a local news website. The headline read, Local business owner George Wells faces fraud investigation. What? I scanned the article. Apparently, my father's attempts to discredit me had backfired spectacularly. His angry rants to reporters had drawn attention to his own business practices. Keep reading, Jaden said. 3 former employees had come forward with evidence of tax evasion. My father's main business partner had distanced himself publicly. The family name was toxic. Scarlett? Diana appeared in the doorway. They're ready. I handed the tablet back to Jaden and followed her into the auditorium. 50 students sat in the front rows, each wearing a foundation pin. Their families filled the seats behind them, faces glowing with pride. As I took the podium, I saw movement at the back of the hall. My mother slipped in, trying to be invisible. She looked smaller somehow, older. Welcome, I began, to the first class of the Christine Roberts Foundation. The room erupted in applause. Each of you, I continued, has faced someone telling you to dream smaller, to stay in your lane, to put others' demands before your own potential. In the audience, heads nodded. Today, that changes. Today, you become living proof that breaking free isn't selfish, it's necessary. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Haley, Dad's business is collapsing. This is your fault. I ignored it. Your scholarships aren't just about education, I said. They're about liberation, about choosing your own path. Another buzz. Freddie this time. We're filing for bankruptcy. Hope you're happy. Delete. One by one, the students came forward to receive their acceptance letters. Each had a story. Parents who thought college was a waste, relatives who called them traitors, families who saw their dreams as betrayal. Tyrese was last. He stood at the podium, hands steady. Someone once told me that family is about loyalty, he said. But Ms. Wells taught me that real loyalty means helping each other grow, not holding each other back. My mother slipped out before the ceremony ended. Afterward, as families celebrated and photographers captured smiles, Diana handed me a legal document. Final restraining order, she said. Your father can't come within 100 feet of you or the foundation. He tried something? Threatened to disrupt today's ceremony. Police advised him against it. I signed the paper without hesitation. Your mother left this, Jaden said quietly, handing me an envelope. Inside was a short note. I'm sorry I never stood up for you. You've become everything I was afraid to be. A student approached, Maria from Arizona. Ms. Wells, my uncle says what you did to your family is unforgivable. And what do you think? She straightened her shoulders. I think sometimes the bravest thing is knowing when to walk away. I hugged her, this girl who understood without explanation. My phone buzzed one final time. A text from my father. You've destroyed this family. No, I thought, watching Maria rejoin her beaming parents. I'd freed myself from a prison disguised as family. And now I was helping others do the same. Ready for the reception? Jaden asked. I looked around the auditorium, at the students clutching their acceptance letters, at the parents learning to support instead of suppress, at the future unfolding in real time. Actually, I said, I think I'm ready for everything. I deleted my father's number and turned toward the celebration. Behind me, generations of control and manipulation crumbled. Ahead, 50 new stories were just beginning. And mine was finally, truly my own. Sometimes the path you walk alone becomes the trail others follow. Tyrese's voice carried across the packed auditorium. He stood tall at the podium, his foundation pin gleaming under the lights. Mrs. Roberts wrote those words to a scared teenager named Scarlett. Today, I'm proud to speak them as the Foundation's first graduate. From my seat in the front row, I watched him command the stage with quiet confidence. The same confidence I'd found when I'd finally broken free. When my acceptance letter came, he continued, my uncle said I was betraying my family. Today, he's in this audience, watching me become the first engineer in our family's history. Applause thundered through the room. I caught sight of his uncle wiping away tears. But this isn't just my story, Tyrese said. It's the story of every student who dared to want more, who learned that love shouldn't come with chains. My phone lit up with a text from Diana. Turn on the local news when you can. Later, during the reception, Jaden showed me the headline. Wells Auto Empire files for bankruptcy. Owner faces criminal charges. Your father's business partner turned state's evidence, he said quietly. I handed the phone back without comment. My father's downfall wasn't my victory. My victory was watching Tyrese pose for photos with his proud family, seeing his uncle shake his hand with newfound respect. Ms. Wells? A young girl approached, clutching an application. I'm sorry to bother you, but my parents say college is for rich people. That family comes first. What's your name? Angela. I gestured to the celebration around us. Look at this room, Angela. Every person here heard the same words you did, but family coming first doesn't mean you have to come last. She twisted the application in her hands. My sister Haley, different Haley, she says I'm being selfish. Let me tell you about selfish, I said, leading her to a quiet corner. Selfish is demanding someone stay small so you can feel big. Selfish is using love as a weapon. How did you know you were doing the right thing? Because the right thing feels like freedom, not fear. A commotion near the entrance drew our attention. Through the glass doors, I saw my mother arguing with security. She held what looked like a baby blanket. I excused myself and walked over. The guard looked at me questioningly. It's okay, I said. She can come in. My mother clutched the blanket like a shield. Haley had her baby, a girl. She wanted you to have this. I didn't take the blanket. Why are you really here? I've been watching the Foundation's work, reading about the students. She swallowed hard. You've built something beautiful from something ugly, just like Mrs. Roberts did for you. Did Dad send you? Your father doesn't know I'm here. She trailed off. It doesn't matter. I came because I needed to say you were right about everything. Behind us, Tyrese was giving tours to prospective students, showing them it was possible to rewrite their stories. The baby's name is Scarlett, my mother said softly. That's not fair to her, I replied. Or to me. She nodded, finally understanding. No, it's not. She set the blanket on a nearby chair. Goodbye, Scarlett. Be proud of who you've become. After she left, Angela reappeared at my side. Was that your mom? Yes. Are you okay? I watched Tyrese leading another tour, saw Diana reviewing applications with a new student, noticed Jaden mentoring a shy freshman. You know what, Angela? I'm better than okay. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. She smiled, then held up her application. Will you help me fill this out? I think I'm ready to build my own path. Of course. I guided her to a table, away from the blanket that represented an old life's last gasp. Let's write your future. Around us, the Foundation hummed with possibility. 50 stories had become hundreds. Hundreds would become thousands, each one a testament to the power of choosing yourself, of turning pain into purpose. My family had tried to write my ending. Instead, I'd written a beginning, not just for myself, but for every student who dared to dream beyond the boundaries others set for them. And that was the greatest revenge of all.